Did you hit record?
Come on. I'm used to Dave. I'm used to Dave.
It's not working. It took forever.
I'm
like
used to Dave.
I had
Dave's a professional, Jimmy.
I am
you gotta
not a
step
professional.
it up, Jimmy.
I gotta. Well, I mean, we wanted Dave on. Actually, we were trying to get cash on.
Well, thanks a lot, Jimmy. I
we worked
appreciate that. Remember that,
Kevin. He does not speak for me. I don't know about Joe. He doesn't speak for me.
all joking, or is it joking aside? It's the Reseller Leftovers, the self-diagnosed #1 podcast in the world with the actual #1 reselling podcast in the world.
I gotta get my butt cushion.
Yes.
Sorry, I gotta
Kevin
get this here.
And he's picking a snuggie as I'm introducing him. That's perfect. What's going on, fellas?
How you doing?
Nothing much.
Not bad. I mean, it's going to be a busy couple weeks coming up, but I'm mentally, I think I'm hanging in there. How about y'all?
Yeah. I'm super nervous right now. I'm nervous.
Yeah, you're nervous, Dan.
I've never talked to Kevin in I've talked to you on the phone one time.
Oh.
I've never looked you in the eyes and talked to you.
Oh well.
You guys need like a moment alone.
How are you going to feel?
Me and Joe can leave.
How are you going to feel in a week in Crossville, Dan? When we meet in Crossville?
I'm gonna be scared. I'm gonna be so nervous. I haven't met anyone.
You ever seen? Have you ever seen? I know you guys have seen Wayne's World when like Garth sees the girl from across the room and he's all the dream.
Was that planned? Did you and Jimmy have that planned?
No, I have a Whatnot show this weekend on Saturday night. It's a SNL raid train I'm on.
Okay.
And I talked about it months ago. I think I signed up in like April or May. And it kept on getting pushed back, and supposedly it's this weekend. And I was going to be Wayne from Wayne's World, and you have to be that character the whole time. But now, since the time's passed on, I've switched to Garth. So I'm going to be Garth from Wayne's World.
You should do an S&M raid train, Dan.
S&M?
Yeah, Dan, you would kill it in that.
What is S&M? Is that like sexual?
I forgot to turn my alerts off, so if I have any phone calls, it's going to screw something up. I might have to turn it on. I've already had 3 since we started.
What's S&M stand for?
You get a little outfit on, then
get you a little whip, and maybe
I have some vests that I bought from Dave. I was bitten against.
They're used. Did you clean them?
I have not cleaned these yet. I was scared because I didn't know what to do with them because I bought them and then I bought them. I'm like, why did I buy these? Because that's why you got like kicked off of eBay or banned.
No, dude. Come on.
They have Harley Davidson. They have Harley Davidson patches on them.
Well, are they not Harley Davidson?
No, they're like
brand. Yeah, you shouldn't have done that.
Uni.
Yeah. So, well, I'll tell you what, and it just depends. I would not do that, obviously, after what happened to me. But you know, you might be able to sell them somewhere.
Like when I listen like that, I just don't. I put biker vest with patches, and I don't put Harley Davidson in there.
That's what I put. Oh, you don't put it on the title?
Yeah, I make sure the pictures show it, but I don't put Harley in the title.
Yeah,
and I've sold a couple things that way.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't sell too many Harley Davidson vest and leather goods like you guys.
Joe keeps them for his biker gang that he's in.
And I was trying to be honest with mine, and that got me the boot. I was like, this is a vest with a Harley Davidson patch, right? Yeah. Well, that wasn't good enough, and that's fine. That's fine. I can handle that.
Knockoff in the title was not a good idea, though.
Harley Davidson knockoff. Please zero this.
Harley Davidson I had these batteries. I had batteries, and they were for like cameras, and they said like Sony type or something. And then forever, and then I finally took them down. I was like, I'm scared.
Yeah, well, that stuff's everywhere, right? And so it's like they can get away with it, but Harley won't let them get away with it, and some of the other brands do. I'll tell you what I got a problem with. This isn't exactly on topic, but I got a problem with all the folks that they know what they're doing is fine and perfectly legal and whatever, and they won't do it. It's like, are we just going to kowtow and roll over and let this happen? And there's tons of people, and I get it, right? If it's your income, you depend on it. I get it, but man. That's not going to end well if we just keep doing that.
Well, but like you said, in that same breath, like I see a lot of stuff on eBay similar to what you got called or they came after you on. You can go right now and you'll find that exact same jacket with the same title and everything, and it's still there. So like,
there's a lot of it out there. That's why you need a second account. Like I use my wife's account for anything that's
right. Whenever you're gonna do fraudulent activity, just
I don't know, because they have that. They know, it's the same Wi-Fi, the same area, same. They know, and that's why I was deathly afraid of my sons because I'm like, I mean, not that he's not an honest guy, but he, I'm like, dude, did you test that thing? He's like, no. I'm like, well, you have tested and working in the description. I'm like, he's like, it's probably working. I'm like, dude, no. If it's working, it's working. I was like, you're on the same whatever, and I said, you're not selling my account for sure. You're selling yours. Maybe that'll give me some leeway if something ever happens, but you're not doing it on mine.
Tell him to go sell him Macari.
There you go. Yeah, well, his income doesn't depend on this,
What was it that he said? Like it was something that has a low percentage chance of working?
No, it was probably just fine. I was trying to make the point with him.
Oh, gotcha.
Just like, you got to be careful with this stuff. And, the way I'm like, you're going to ship it like that? He's like, it'd be fine. I'm like, dude, he's banging around in the box. Like, I don't think so. It's not going to work. Not going to work. But at any rate, I'm excited though, yo. We are 127. We're going to be seeing each other soon. Dan, I'll be in the flesh, Dan. In the flesh. I've already met these guys, so it's everybody's looking forward to meeting Dan.
Lots of flesh too. Like he's gonna make sure extra flesh.
No, that's all right. It doesn't have. We can minimize the flesh. Carrie's gonna be there. That'll be fun.
I'm gonna be hanging out with Carrie extra because I'm seeing him this coming weekend in Cleveland before so I feel
you're gonna be tired of him by then.
You think so? Oh, Dawn is cool though. Dawn is cool, so I'll hang out with Dawn.
It'd be fun. It's gonna be a good time. I'm looking forward to it. And Crossville, Tennessee. Everybody remember that's where we're going. There's a hangout down there. I hear the locker room's got a hangout down there. So that's where everybody needs to go.
It's gonna be the creepy old guy locker room, but it's gonna be down
there. Really? I didn't say that. Jimmy said that.
I was gonna say I think all of them are younger than me.
What the heck, Jimmy?
No, I'm because locker rooms always have the creepy old guy walking around in them. So whenever I think of locker room, I think of that.
Ben's listening to you right now.
I know he is.
So
Ben knows I'm joking. Ben knows enough to know that I don't.
I heard on your last podcast that Dan wasn't going to go to garage sales. What are you going to do? Go hang out at the Airbnb all day long? Not going to garage sales?
Yeah, I might be a homemaker. I don't know. I don't know.
Just send in your order to Dan. Here you go. I'm tired. Medium rare. That's what we'll do.
I thought about just using it as like a vacation. I'm exhausted. I've been killing it. I was wasting. No, I guess. Well, I kind of wasting. I was spending a lot of time between Whatnot and kind of neglecting my eBay for a little bit. So I put a stop to that, and I got right back on the track of doing my eBay. And I've listed every day 10 items for 19 days in a row now.
And you sold stuff
on top of. And I've been selling stuff.
Isn't that amazing how that works?
Yeah. And I've been I already had commitments on Whatnot. So I've still been doing my Whatnot shows on top of it. So I'm tired. I've been working.
Oh, come on, man. Dude, how many hours you work, Dan? A week?
I mean, I kind of have little bits and pieces that I do all day.
You're struggling with this, Dan. How many hours do you work a week?
Why are you laughing, Joe? Because I get up in the morning and I'll do listings and I'll do stuff first thing in the morning, and then like my mom.
What's that? Is that like Carrie morning? Like 11 first thing for you in the morning?
Oh no,
I'm up at early 4 o'clock in the morning.
4?
4. Yep.
Oh man, you're beating Dave.
I'm up early. But it depends on my morning. Sometimes I'll share my Poshmark closet, and I'll do some cross listing if on Vendu if I can. But that's hit or miss lately because the app's messed up right now for using Macari, and then if you want to cross list or whatnot, it's a beta, so you can only do it on your desktop. So like. I'll bring my computer to bed and I'll do that for a few hours, or I'll list. I've been trying to get ahead. Like I was listening to your guys' Trash to Cash with Tekken when he was on, and then Dave. I watched Dave, and then his doing his drafts, I've been trying to get ahead. I don't have 250 drafts, but I've been trying to be a day or two ahead of my listings. So like I'm always trying. Well, today I'm not ahead, so I don't have anything ready today. So I like ultimately I would like to have 10 or so items. So first thing in the morning I do my listing and I'm done, and then I do stuff. I have to do stuff around the house.
So
like
this is 2 minutes, and I still don't have an answer. How many hours you put in a week, Dan?
I work because I'll write it down. I don't know. I'll write it down. I'll tell you. I work from. I mean, I'll get up and I start working 5, 7 o'clock in the morning, but then I finish up around 7 o'clock at night. But I've done other stuff during the day.
Right.
Like this morning, I went grocery shopping, where I went to the Dollar Tree. But then there's like, from at 2:30 every day, I leave the house and I drop off my packages, and then I have to go pick up Dodger at my mom's. And from 3 to 4, I watch Inside Edition and I watch Jeopardy.
Oh my gosh, Jeopardy! Oh yeah. I used
and then
to
at
watch
4 o'clock, I come home and then I do some listings before I make dinner, and then after dinner.
Is this what it's always like on this? But you ask Dan a question and it just goes on and on and on.
Not at all.
Because we don't know what's going to come out. Like I
don't know what I'm saying, because I'm trying. I mean, I'm trying to. I don't know how to talk. What I'm trying to say is that I do work, but I know I don't work all day.
Yeah,
I know that.
I do this.
But I do thing. I have to do
wake up, work, go eat breakfast. Joe, what's your schedule? See how I segued out of Dan there?
It's all over the place. But I'm roughly 20 hours basically a week. But I do things like Dan says, like if I'm not doing anything, I'll throw a listing up or I'll take some pictures. So I mean, I don't consider that, work and that, but it only might be for 15 minutes. You know what I mean? I have 15, 20 minutes. I'll go take a couple pictures, go back upstairs, do whatever I'm doing, things like that. So I don't have and that's my struggle. That's my biggest thing, is not having a consistent workflow of, sectioning this amount of time off every day to do it. So, but my schedule's all over the place. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's also the big question, like, because sourcing is, Kevin he's twisted and muted right now. So let's,
I know he's
champ.
He might be
Wi-Fi. Like sourcing is working, but I enjoy it. So like I should count those hours, but I'm having fun while doing it.
I like it better when I don't leave the house. So sourcing, I like to source, but sourcing, I wanted to source yesterday, but I had a lot of packages to ship out, and then by the time I got done with that, it was time to take my pictures and do my listings.
You know me, and you don't like to go out and source, and I've been talking about Shop Commons. Now I still don't see Dan in demand over there. So I sold 28 nice men. And can y'all hear me?
Ralph Lauren shirt.
Okay, 28. Did you not look at that lot? That was the best lot I put over there. Nobody bought it forever. There was two $30 shirts in there, and I only looked at 5 of them. And there was 28 shirts sold for $100, man. That was $400 worth of stuff if it was a dime, and it was probably more than that.
Broke it all down too. I'll tell you what. I look
Kevin,
at that.
I've been telling him for days to go over there, Kevin.
I look every day, but I'll tell you. I'll be honest. I'll tell you why I didn't buy it.
Because it wasn't Dave that put it up.
No.
Because it wasn't fake Harley.
So, 2 weeks ago, we did. There was 50% off at Goodwill. I bought so much stuff.
Yeah.
And then I did. I bought 2 of those Reseller Information Network deals of the days from Cernock, and I have a humongous box here from Cernock. I haven't even opened it. And I'm going to the 127 sale, so I've been.
You gotta have some capital. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's the only reason I didn't buy it.
So, well, if they've been around me, these 2 guys up here, and if people are out picking and they come back with deals and they got to turn that money, I just buy it all. That's what I do with Death Pile, which, by the way, he just called. That's why I had to fix my phone. You go out and buy. So if you buy stuff at 127 and run out of money, I'll just undercut. I'll give you a little bit more than you paid for it. I'll just take all your goods and give you cash, Dan. So you can just keep turning that money. Jimmy's too cheap. He's too cheap. That's why he's listed stuff on shopcommons.net, and I could just tell he's got a little too much Uncle Steve in him. He's trying to get that money out of it. Yeah.
So I need to lower my prices over there then.
Well, you can do whatever you want, but I tell you what, it's and if Dan, if you've been over there and looked at the stuff, there, what happens is like we sold, I think it's what is it, $12.49 right now, and we've sold 6 things today over there already, and the majority of them are things that just got listed. It's like the deals get on there and boom, as soon as a deal gets posted, it's gone. So what looks like it's left over is the stuff that's not always great, or it needs a specific buyer who knows a niche. Like I think One Foot Flipper just sold like 35 those little, I don't know what are they called, millimeter slides or something, and that might need a specific buyer. He sold a giant lot of those, so some of that stuff waits a little bit. But man, if a new deal goes up, like I'll see the sale alert, and I'm like, I didn't even see that. I'd have bought that dumb thing. There was one person had like 12 hats over there, and some of the hats are way too expensive. Some of them are fine. They're selling it for like $30. There was a $30 hat in there. I comped it. I'm like, there's a $30 hat. So, you know, of course you got to pay the shipping and whatever, and the fees on the $30 hat. I'm like, so 2 hats are going to pay that back. And then I got 10 hats left. And you know, what can I make on those? $100 or so. It's like, okay, I'd have bought that lot. It's a sweet Dollywood trucker hat. And I'm like, man.
Someone bought that one? I saw that one this morning.
Yeah.
I was going to sit there and comp some of those because I don't know. I see those trucker hat lots, and I don't know anything about hats. I went to hat camp last year on the Reseller Information Network,
and you still know nothing.
There was a good lot of Levi's on there that went fast.
Yeah, I'm planning on putting some Levi's on there. Yeah.
Commons without the wealth or the pickle.
Yeah, shop Commons. I don't like to brand. I like to brand stuff that's not totally my brand, but still has a little bit of my brand in it, kind of thing. Gotcha. You know, the colors or something. Just so I get people on my Garage Sale Nation YouTube channel, and they'll get on there and they'll be like, "You're stealing all your content from Commonwealth Picker." I'm like, "No, it's me. It's me. It really is me." Although there are people that steal content. I get people sending me. There's people on TikTok and Facebook that literally steal the content, and it's under their name, and they're getting fouled. I'm like, dude, whatever. And you try to report them, and then it just pops up again. It's a pain in the butt. But
they take your content, and then they'll do side by sides of them playing video games and stuff like that. I've seen those.
Well, you see those, but there are some literally that are just straight up. Exactly, they're just not just me.
They just like screen record it.
I saw one. Crazy Lamp Ladies. Drew sent me a link to it. He's like, dude, this dude is straight ripping you off. I'm like, yeah, I know. But it was Craigslist Hunter on there. There's all kinds of people. They're just ripping everybody off and putting the content on there. It's crazy.
Are they making money doing it?
Yeah, they have to be, unless they're being reported just simply because their views are so high. They had to be monetized, I would think, to get that. But
that's interesting. So that's like just.
Can you imagine making it on TikTok or YouTube, stealing someone's stuff?
God. There are probably 5 or 6 Commonwealth Picker fake accounts. There's probably more American Arbitrage fake accounts over there because he's way more successful over there than I am. And Dave and stuff, it's everywhere.
I did see Carrie calling some of them out.
What's that, Joe?
I did see Carrie calling some of them out.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah. I think I can't remember what you asked, Jimmy.
Reporting them takes forever. It doesn't work, or
it works a little better on TikTok, I think, than Facebook. But I've had my account taken down on Facebook for a period of a few hours because somebody was reporting me for not being me over there. And I'm like, well, how come we can't get these real fakes off of here? And I was like, what the heck?
Why can't you be like eBay with the Harley patches? Like, come on, let's get this.
Dude, I was off of eBay for a while. I didn't put out that. That was during FlipCon. Joe, did you go to FlipCon?
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah. That's right. You were there, and we were. I was down there that whole time.
Oh, not FlipCon. I'm sorry, FlipCon.
No,
Reseller. Okay, that's what I was thinking.
That's what it is. But that's when it was going on.
He's lying about his appearances.
They all blend in.
And it was happening afterwards. If you remember the Trash Cast podcast, was Dave was complaining about, hey, we're not allowed to go over to his house until 6 o'clock or whatever. I literally was dealing with that mess. And I'm like, because I had to deal with it. I mean, this was my livelihood in every way, shape, and form. And I'm like, I'd appreciate if y'all come over a little later today. And it wasn't like I always try. Well, I try to be hospitable. I let Jimmy over and Joe over in the middle of the day.
That was a big step for him.
Did you let Jimmy in the house, or did you sit outside?
Yeah, there was no donuts left though. Tim ate them all.
Yeah, Tim ate all the donuts. Tim is a donut hole eating fool.
So Jimmy, I went out on. We had one sale on Saturday. It was raining. One sale, but I went out the day before and found a sale. So there are some Friday sales around here, Jimmy. It happens. I do get jealous of all you that pick on Wednesdays and Thursdays and all this. I'm like,
community sales start on Thursday around here. Usually, it's the back end of the weekend. Like Saturdays aren't great days, and there's nothing going on Sunday out here.
Anybody have a job over there? Don't y'all work during the week?
I say that every time I'm out driving around.
No,
everyone's always out. I'm like, how are you guys all out? I'm with them though.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
They're all resellers, Dan. They're all resellers.
They might be.
Yeah, we're strictly Saturdays. That's it.
That's pretty much we are too. Yeah. And we're in the Bible Belt, so there ain't no Sunday stuff going on unless it's an estate sale or something that'll do a late sale on a Sunday.
When I first started reselling and like back into it in 2019, I was so excited to have I had my own garage sale, and it was supposed to be on a weekend. I took time off of work to have it, and it was I don't remember if it was hot or if it was like 100 degrees or if it was raining, but it got canceled. And then my days off were Tuesday and Wednesday, and I couldn't get another weekend off for months. So I'm like, I have to have it on one of those days. I had a garage sale on a Wednesday afternoon, and it was awful. Like
Jimmy,
no one came.
Jimmy, Joe, how's it feel to not to be the only one on screen here, not to be on the Trash to Cash podcast? How's that feel?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, Dan's been on the podcast. You haven't
on the
been
speaker one,
Jimmy.
It's hurtful, actually. It's very hurtful. I thought Dave was my friend.
Actually, weren't you on the one episode at Crossville?
I've been on Trash Cast twice.
Oh, okay.
You have?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. At the live events, at the meetups.
Jimmy's a one upper, Dan.
Yeah. So there, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
How are summer sales, y'all?
They're good.
Yeah, mine are okay, but I know what I get out what I put in, and I'm good with knowing that. You know what I mean? I should be listing more and I should be doing things more, but
you don't have to. Necessity is the mother of invention, right? Dan's got to sell. Yeah, got to feed that dog.
Yeah.
Big adjustment I'm having to make is because the picking is the spending is almost outweighing the selling right now. So I need a good winter of sales wise because I'm spending a lot and the sales are they're good. They're on average. But when when the picking is good, I'm spending so much. Like maybe what I need to do is, since the picking is so good here, I just need to use here we go. Comment. I need to use comments more. Maybe I'll just pick stuff.
It's chop
people like you that don't have yard sales. And so I can just start my own little part of commons that's like better picking Ohio, selling to no picking Virginia. There we go.
There you go. Hey, that was the idea behind the thing to begin with. You hear all these people out there that are just like, I can't find anything in my area and I can't do whatever. And I have sympathy for that. I mean, like I said, it's tough around here, sort of, just depends. It's hit and miss. And then I got, and I hear, and then I get messages from all these people like, I buy storage units and I see you sell this. You want to buy this giant truckload of Tupperware? I'm like, yeah, not really. But, and I'm like, that was the idea behind it. I'm like, there's got to be a way to financially make this feasible because there's fees and then you got to ship it. But there's got to be a way. There's enough people whose models that this can fit as a seller.
Yeah.
And it can fit as a buyer, and there's got to be some margin in there, which is why we did the 8% fees, and it's why we're, encouraging people to connect with people and follow people that are close to them to keep the shipping cost down. And if somebody has $50 on shipping a big old box of something, and you're like, well, look, hey Joe, Philly picker, I live in Maryland, it's not going to cost me that much. Can we reduce the shipping or something? And So far, it's been unbelievable. We've had over 100 sales. 100 sales. We just launched less than a week ago live when we're recording this. I knew it would work. I did not think it would work this well with so much positive feedback. I was scared to death, to be honest with you. Because when people do this, they think, oh, it's a money grab or another whatever. And to some degree, that's true. I wouldn't do it for free, but I'm like, this has got to work for some people, and it's been working. So I've been doing the tour of all the podcasts. You're number 3 on my list, by the way. Sorry. But for the record, I told Jimmy about this a while ago, and he just straight ghosted me for a week.
Are you serious?
That sounds like
you're gonna get me in trouble, Kevin. I thought we had discussed possibly doing it live at when we're all hanging around each other here in a week, but in my defense, my brother, I had family in town. I had family visiting, so I was busy for a week.
I would have been mad if you did it last week.
I like to defend myself very often.
I missed last week. I wasn't here.
Yeah. It would have been a perfect week. Actually, he probably would have done it last week, Dan, except for he didn't know. Didn't you bail out last minute Carrie style on the podcast?
Yeah, he got a little drizzle. There was a little drizzle.
It's raining. I can't do the podcast.
I didn't have power for 23 hours.
He would have straight up murdered us if we had you on without him.
You should have got them solar panels I was hawking a couple years ago on my channel. You could have got that little solar kit, and you could have done the podcast.
Hey, I want to ask. You were talking about. I want to ask a question about, because as I like to know what comparable sold for. Is there a way to find out what a lot of hats went for and
Yeah, if you go to, I should probably be an expert on my own platform, and I'm not. But if you go to find the platform there, just find the homepage for it.
Yep.
And I'm doing it myself here as we speak. So if you find it, if you go, see where it says on the left-hand side, it's got home, all listings, live stream, leaderboard, and activity. You see activity? See that button on the home screen?
I see it. Yeah.
Hit the activity, and you'll see all the activity. 7 minutes ago, somebody just listed a lot of vintage stirrers. Okay. For $12, and then somebody listed whatever. And if you'll scroll down, it's not a great way to do it. It's not like you can filter to solds, but somebody just sold. Wait a minute, that's a listed lot of women's Harley Davidson T-shirts. See, this isn't a great deal, right? 8 of them for $60. There's not that much margin in those, right? That's gonna it depends on what they are. It's probably gonna sit there. 100-piece vintage photo art banners. But if you keep scrolling, you'll see today. You'll see sold if I can find one. Good Lord, Dan. Let's see.
What is
wholesale?
They each have their own little emoji next to them. What does the sold emoji look like?
I'm trying to find it here. So big lot. I know we've sold a bunch.
So there is a way. If you go in there, you'll just have to scroll for a little bit, but you can find.
Yeah, you'd have to scroll through, a week's worth of stuff to find all the solds here.
All right.
Wholesale rock and roll lot. That's sold. So how come it doesn't show it's sold? That one definitely did. So see, it was listed at 5 hours ago and it sold really quickly, but now I can't find it. This is all screwy to me. I should have.
Well, so that's something that I know you have some when you speak.
Oh yeah, here it is. So if you look, I'm sorry. It says 5 hours ago, wholesale rock and roll lot. Chameleon Collectibles bought wholesale rock and roll lot. There's no hey, this is sold. They bought this from Biggs Collectibles at 30. They bought I don't know how many there are, but
and I'm able to $39 and look at what they bought too. All right.
Yeah, and you can kind of get an idea.
You can actually get an idea of what all was. All right.
To
me, that's important. I want to see. Because you were saying maybe my hats are priced a little high. And I was just I just made up.
You did. Look, I'm screwing with Jimmy, y'all, because he was kind enough. Here's the issue. The issue was we weren't live. We were not live on the district platform. We were only live if somebody searched it through shopcommons.net, and it had been mentioned in 2 places at the end of one of my videos and whatever. And we had a lot of folks coming over there, and everything was getting bought. And we could not get above 32 listings. I'm like, we're going to launch this stupid thing with 32 listings. I'm like, Jimmy, I need some help, brother. I don't care what it is. Put something. We got to get these listings up so there's some appearance of, hey, this is a viable place. And so I was recruiting people like crazy just to have it full on the day of the launch. And so I'm giving Jimmy a hard time, but I really appreciate you doing that very much.
But
Jimmy,
in the end, I want to sell
brand clothes up there.
What's that?
Put some clothes up there, Jimmy.
Well, I was going to, but I'm bringing them all to my good friend Dan down there in 127.
There you go.
Saying, here you go, buddy. Here's some clothes for you.
There you go.
Sell clothes.
We're starting to get auto parts in there now. I think what I've found interesting about this is that the buyers all of them aren't necessarily traditional eBay sellers. There's been people reach out in the comments, what are you looking for, whatever. And one person has a vintage music media booth, antique booth, right? And so they can take those low end CDs that might be listed for $6 or something on eBay, and they're getting them for like 50 cents a dollar on here by however many they want to buy. There's tons of those listings, and they can sell them for $3, $4, $5 just by an impulse buy and somebody in an antique booth who finds that one CD that they like or something. And so a lot of the sellers aren't traditional eBay sellers. And a lot of the folks who are buying have niche down stores on eBay. I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm sure you do. You guys have been reselling a while. But sometimes you look at comps and there's one comp that's like stupid high compared to the rest of the comps for an item. So what I like to do, I did this with a Care Bear thing. I'm like, somebody bought a Care Bear off of me, a big giant Care Bear. And I saw some sold comps out there for that Care Bear at like $100. I'm like, how is this person getting $100 for this thing? Or all the rest of them are getting 50. And so when that Care Bear sold, I looked to see who bought it. And the person that bought it was the person who just got 100 for it. And because their entire store is nothing but Care Bears. And so they have a market where people save their store and they keep coming back to their store. And then they look at something and then they look at the seller's other items and they don't go on and search for the best price. They just look and they're like impulse buy from that niche down seller. So I think a lot of these people are they're the niche down sellers who can command a higher price for a particular item than other people can do. So I don't know.
Since that isn't Care Bears Dave's nickname for Carrie.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he was just buying a Care Bear for Carrie via that person, and
very possible
able to mark it up. I don't know.
I do that sometimes too, because I found a whole lot of baseballs, Major League Baseballs, and they have the commissioner signed on there, so that's how you can like date them. I forget who it is off the top of my head, but it's someone from the 80s, and I was selling them for $25.
Who's that signed by?
Tommy John.
Tommy John. Yeah. Former Yankee, former Angel.
I won this from Keith's Vintage.
I was hoping wasn't it McGraw? Wasn't
Tug
McGraw?
Tug
McGraw.
Well, we already killed his reputation.
I forgot about Tug.
The guy that I sold 4 or 5, I think, different the same baseball. I have like 24 of them or whatever, but he keeps coming back. He buys them from me for $20. He always.
Every time he comes back, Joe has to sign one again.
He sells them for $50 on his, but all he does is sell baseballs from all different years throughout the thing. So
So the value of the niche down store, I think, plays in. And a lot of those people who have those stores, that's what they do. They do online arbitrage. They're just buying. And so this is a cheaper version, essentially, of online arbitrage because all this stuff that's sold over here, you could list it on eBay. You could list it on eBay. Here, the benefit of something like this is because those people who like if this thing is listed, it gives them an alert and they go on and do online arbitrage. We've probably all done it at some point. I know I have. But the benefit here is you can literally get in the chat and say, hey, I am a seller of postcards or X or Y or Z. And somebody sent a message to Tim or put a message in there. Hey, I'm looking for fairly low end glass, a lot of it for my antique booth because I mix in high end and low end and I sell a bunch of stuff. And Tim's like, oh, I'm on that. And he put his listing up and it sold to that person immediately. Wow. And so all of the viewers who are looking at it are viewers who are resellers, and the fee structure is so low because it's 8%, but it's 8% just on the sales price. You're not getting fees on the shipping like you would on eBay. So it's essentially a third in some cases of the selling of the fee structure over there. So there's some advantages to it that is making this work as well as it has so far. So I'm excited about it. I sell stuff like those shirts. You talk about needing capital. I could have gone through all those shirts. I could have gone and listed them all and done all that stuff and made more money. But I almost didn't buy them the day that I was buying them because I'm like, oh man, my closets are full. Like, what am I going to do? Is this going to sit till I sell some stuff? I'm like, forget it. I got this thing. I'm just going to buy them all for $1 a piece, and I'm going to put them out there for $100 and $120 or something, and I'm going to sell them. And they're gone. I made some profit. They're going to make a lot more profit. And I was on to the next thing, which is that silverware I'm working on back there. That's going to make me $1,200, right? And so it's just a matter of what are you doing with your time?
I gotta get more creative with my lots. Like just grabbing a stack of magic cards and not putting a lot of effort into it is probably what's gonna, I want to come up with creative. Like, do you think just like a reseller lot, like it doesn't have to be totally niched, or do you think the niche is important?
So I think here's what at this stage, Jimmy, we said that we wanted similar or like items. Now that could mean two things. Now that doesn't mean magic, right? Did you have 2 card lots, or what did you have?
Yeah, I put 2 different Magic the Gathering card lots.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you'd be better off if you put them all together. But let's just say you had Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh and you put them all together. They're all cards, right?
Right.
That would work. Or I use the example of, okay, maybe you have a Garfield lot. They're not all clothes, or they're not all shoes, or they're not all whatever. They could be toys, figurines, but they're all Garfield. So in that sense, they're all similar or alike. And so you could do it that way and then tag collectibles. So I think you could do it either way. What I did not want to see, and that's why I said that, was I did not want to see death pile boxes. Just like, here's a giant box, I'm throwing my death pile in it, and that is not what I wanted to see. I do think, though, when we start lives, the opportunity to build a box with the viewers watching it is key. Like, okay, here's all this stuff. We're going to fill this box. What do you want me to fill it with? And, what are you willing to start? I'm not going to do this and start at $1. We got to, figure this thing out. So there may be some options to do that in the future because there are so many sellers. The day I started talking about this, it's been about a month and a half ago, I started to put feelers out there. I'm sorry, I'm filibustering the conversation, and then I ripped on Dan for doing that earlier. But I started to put feelers out there because when I hired Jess, and you two have met Jess, it was with the idea that she was going to handle all the live selling, and I was going to put something else on there, which is I get contacted all the time from people who want to sell just tons of stuff off. So I knew that was out there, right? Most of the time they're storage auction people, or they buy from live auctions and they just, they want, how they do at storage auctions. There's 3 things that they want in that box, and there's 75 things in it.
Yeah.
And so they buy that, and then they want to get rid of everything else because it's not their niche. So I put out, I was like, hey, jess.commonwealthpicker@gmail.com if you're interested in selling in bulk, or if you have a collection, or if your parents just passed, or whatever. And we got a flood of people that are like, yes, this is me. I want to do this. And so I'm like, well, it didn't solve my problem, which is I couldn't handle that because I got so much going on, because she just got overwhelmed with it. And like, well, this isn't going to work. So now if it's a really interesting buy, we might respond. But if not, we're just like, hey, put this over on shopcomics.net and we'll probably get a sale. And that's what's been happening.
Yeah. All right.
Or a way for me to look at it. Because a lot of times, have you ever been contacted about a buyout or something, Jimmy? Like
a couple times,
or any of you?
Yeah, a couple times.
What is my response is always, hey, can I know exactly what's in it? Like, I need pictures. I need a list. I need to know what you want for it, right?
Yep.
And then you don't get a response back sometimes. Yeah. And so this kind of solves it. It's like, hey, go list it over there. And as soon as it's listed, tell me, and I'll buy it if it's worth it. If not, somebody else might buy it.
I mean, that's why it's important, like on comments. That's why I want to make sure I lay it out there. Because I'm as a reseller, I want to know price per unit. Like, I'm big on how many pieces are there. So that's why I make sure I put that on there and take a good picture of each item, or lay it out so you can see everything. Because like you said, if if you can see that there's a couple hats in there worth $30-something a piece, and you know you're at $4 per piece, well, it's easy math for you. If you're if you want to sit at home and find something to ship right to your door and be able to sell and make a profit, the math is easy when it's all right there. If you just, like you said, if you just throw it in a box and you really don't know how many pieces, you don't know exactly what's all in there and what kind of condition, and then there's a number on there and you're like, really have no idea what per piece you're in. So that's a big factor for me too.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how it all works out. I need some feedback on this because I've been toying around with this. I thought about making the listings, if I can work with a district, with 30 days and then they disappear, or 90 maybe, right? And so
when you say disappear, like will the seller be notified that, hey, you got to relist it, or how does that going to work?
Yeah, or maybe what's the point? Look, if this has got an ample amount of resellers over there, right? I mean, I'm looking at these listings. I mean, resellers will buy things if there's margin in it, right?
Right.
Yes, I should have said that. Lots of views. You can see the views. I'm impressed with the amount of views my items are getting for sure.
Yeah. It's because people are on there, literally they're getting alert and they're looking at all the new stuff that gets listed and they're making a decision on it, right? So to me, I listed, now I'm up to 20, I'm trying to remember, 25 things I've listed. 22 have sold. No, 23, because I sold that shirt lot. Sorry, Dan, you're out of luck. So 20.
I kept on looking at it to see so I couldn't believe I should have just, now I feel like I should have just bought it. Because now I feel like
what you should have done is sent me an offer, because I wouldn't have turned you down, Dan. That's what you should have done.
I couldn't do that.
And I could have done free delivery. Could have dropped it off to you in Crossville, Tennessee. Man.
And you could have made all kinds of offers because you're going to be seeing them in person soon.
I'm like one of those people that I get, if I get over, right now I can't even walk in here.
No, you can't operate. That's a way to really handicap your business too, and I think that this is a good way to get rid of. I've been there before, Dan. I've been there where it's like you don't even know where to start, and it makes you not want to start.
Because I have a listener of the podcast. I ran into.
You have a listener, not these guys. It's just a listener.
There's a listener, but I was at the bins and I met him. I turned around and he held up. He was listening to our podcast, Eddie, and so I started talking to him, and I've done a few buys from him. And then he's like, "You can say no, blah blah blah. Say no if you don't want it." And if he's listening, he'll agree with this. Hopefully, I don't know if he'll at least send me a text. I don't know if he comments. He'll say, he'll like, "Do you want this? Do you want this?" And I'm like, "Dude, like I have no place to put anything. I can't even stand in here." So I've turned down things that he's offered that he's offered me before. So
now you can buy them and put them on comment. Dan, I want to ask Dan about, because Dan does a lot of whatnot. If you knew that you could put together a lot on Commons and sell it all in one shot and not have to run and get the same amount you would on whatnot, I mean, you're doing that, right? Like less boxing. I mean, I know
this week I hate whatnot right now. I hate whatnot right now.
I'll go back. For the last 2 weeks, Dan has hated whatnot.
Oh, it's been more than 2 weeks, dude.
3 weeks ago, no. 3 weeks ago, it was good. I'm going back in my text messages.
Okay.
3 weeks ago, he was good with it. 4 weeks ago, he was on the fence. So,
all right. Can you go to the ones where he talks about how much when he likes me and he doesn't like me? Because I know you get those ones too. Like this week he likes me, this week he doesn't. I
got to go back 40 weeks for that.
Before we were.
That was the other inspiration for this. There was quite a few of them, and I saw it out there with other people because you may know Joe. Yeah, you guys know Joey. Some of you do. Pin Joe. Yeah. He does storage units and does clean outs and storage units, and he ends up with just massive quantities at one time. And sometimes he doesn't have those for a while if he's not buying a storage unit or doing a clean out. And so when he does have too much merchandise, he went on whatnot multiple times with very little audience whatsoever. And I would get on there, Eric OBX would get on, we'd be buying this stuff for dirt cheap on his auction, but he'd spend forever listing it and doing the show and then shipping it to multiple people. And I just called him up on one day. I'm like, Joey, just stop doing it. Just stop doing it. I said, what did you make in that 3 hours you're doing it? What'd you make? You made $80 in 3 hours, and how much of that is cost and shipping and boxes? I was like, just bring it all to me. I'll give you more than that, and it's done, right? And so that was part of it too. And then I had an experience on Dibdit selling comic books where I would sell them in lots of 10. And I get $1, $2, $3, sometimes $5 for a lot of 10. Yep. And it took forever. And then we'd ship it to 30 different people. And I'm like, man, I just put all 300 of them on here for $100. I'll make half the money and I'll do it in no time at all. Yeah. They'll end up with a better deal than buying all these one-offs with the added shipping and whatever. And on Whatnot, of course, you can't ship those big old. I'm not shipping a 40-pound box. You can't do that stuff on Whatnot, but you can do it over here. And I'm like, this is what it's gonna work. I mean, so
when they start messing with Kevin's time on nap time under the tree where he has to be running a Whatnot. So this is a way where he gets way more nap time under the tree.
It is.
Yeah, for sure.
I also have to pay less labor because I can't handle. You know how it is, Dan. You've talked about. You took time away from eBay. Yeah, you might be making money on Whatnot, but that opportunity cost you money on eBay. So are you really making any money?
No. And I'm exhausted. I get exhausted. I sit there. I complain to my mom all the time. She's like, just stop doing it. I like doing it. It's not like. But I've tried to make
it. You like the interaction. I see you over there with the people. Yeah.
I do like that part of it, and that's what's tough. But I've tried to make it part of my business, and it just doesn't. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Like if I do some fun things, on my free time, I think that'd be better for me because I do the same thing. I mean, I did. I had the number last week because I was missed. I had done 5 shows and I grossed like $150 for 5 shows. Like that's crazy. The amount of time I spent doing just, and they weren't like great shows either. Like some stuff I was trying, like I had this stuff here. Let me try it. It looks like there's some value. Like there's no value. It's just
yeah. It's been looking up over there, and I was successful on Whatnot, right? But when you have an audience like we've got on different channels, my Facebook audience and my Garage Sale Nation audience on YouTube, and TikTok, they're not all full of resellers, but obviously my flipper channel is so when you're trying to push resellers to go buy one-offs from you over on Whatnot or on Dibdit for that matter, it's like it's like they're buying it because they like you or charity or whatever. And sometimes there's value in some of it, but it's not like it's a great sourcing technique. It's like us going over to watch Harry Tornado and Whatnot and think we're going to make money off of what he's selling. It ain't going to happen. Right. And so I'm like, my audience, and his audience is far less resellers than mine would be percentage wise. Like, I'm like, why don't I start a marketplace that markets itself to resellers?
Yeah.
And it's, hey, I got Pops. Even Pops is like, I wanted to hate this thing because, and he's like, it's actually not a bad idea. He just sold something, or did he buy something today? I think he sold something today. Anyway,
I was listening to their podcast, and he said he was selling and buying stuff all last week.
Mm-hmm.
I need to shop on there more. I haven't looked to shop.
I've checked out. There's been some good deals. I've checked it out constantly, but like I just don't want to. I don't have the money. I'm not going to spend the money right this second.
Right now,
like it definitely. Hopefully, I find some deals when I need stuff. It's just good stuff always comes around when I'm like overloaded with stuff.
So here's one right here. Somebody listed 155 kids meal toys, right? And we're not buying it, right? So who's buying it for $25? 155. I did this. I was at a sale the other day. And there was a giant bag full of, they were actually pretty good toys. I think most of them were Burger King, but they were like not Power Rangers. There was Powerpuff Girls, Powerpuff Girls. They had some decent Dragon Ball Z. They were good. They were full sets. Some of them did have some eBay value on it. But I'm not listing that crap on my eBay store. I'm not sitting around waiting forever. And I guarantee you the person that's going to buy these is the person who has that antique booth down there. They're getting 155 of them for $25 and they're putting them all in there for $1 or $1.50 or $2.
I had a Whatnot show I just did last week. It was Happy Meal toys, and it was for a box of stuff that's been sitting here for a while. But when I dug through that box, I had some that were worth money that I sold off on eBay for $20 and $15. So maybe I'll look through it and I'll see one that I'll see a few. You just find if there's a Little Mermaid 2 in there, I'm gonna buy it.
Well, these are all not new. The ones I bought.
Oh, it's used too.
Little Mermaid. That's terrible. The one I bought was this whole bag of 72, and they were all sealed. They were all new, and the whole bag was $2 at a yard sale. I would have never picked that up, but I picked it up, and I immediately went over there and I listed it for like, I don't know, $35, $40 or something, and it sold. I'm like, huh. So I've added to the model where there's somebody out there who will buy that and sell it. They may not sell it individually on eBay. They may do lots. They may do different stuff. Somebody's knocking on my door here. Come on in. It's Jeff. Jeff's here. You want to say hi, Jeff? Oh, and it's my dog. Hold on one second. Let me mute this.
All right.
Wait, I have to show. Listening to us on your favorite podcast, you're not gonna, or your platform, you're not gonna hear it. But look, this $20.
Hey, can you give me just a second, y'all?
Oh, yeah.
One of my dogs just went through his little shock collar. I gotta go get him. Just a minute.
Yeah.
So this
is
a Little Mermaid 2. It's a Happy Meal toy.
Oh,
and it. Oh, that's just that. Yeah, that's just sold. Yeah,
$20.
Yeah, $20.
Dan, how come when Kevin was explaining all this to you, why didn't you act like you were falling asleep like Dave does? I was waiting for you to do it, but you didn't do it, Dan.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't. Well, why you make me like I'm
why is he the one?
I thought isn't that what we talked about before the show?
We didn't talk about that.
Man, I don't even know. Like,
we did talk about. Well, we never got it. You know what? Last week during the podcast, when you guys were, didn't send me the link to join because of, you guys never mentioned one thing about you're excited to know that one of the presidential candidates didn't get hurt in that Pennsylvania.
Well, I was waiting for you to talk for this week to talk about politics, and I figured with Kevin here, we
have to get it in real fast because I don't know if Kevin wants to talk about politics like you talk about.
Okay.
But
I can't speak on that.
Oh, so you're happy that a man didn't get killed.
Somebody did die though, and
the person that caused it. He caused it. He started.
An innocent person that.
Oh yeah, fireman. You feel bad about that too.
We don't leave this in here. The bullet was intended for one person, and it killed
not
a different
anything
person.
Bad, but it's crazy.
And maybe I wish the innocent person survived.
Yeah. Wait,
that's where I'm at.
There's a lot going on in politics. Dan, you want to go over any of this, or you want to save it for later, or what do you want to do?
Well, what do you want to talk about?
Who are you voting for, Dan?
I don't know. There hasn't been clear cut candidates announced.
I have a reason to vote now.
Oh my God, this is not. You guys are.
How do you know that? How do you know which way I'm going though? Like, what if I don't want?
Because you said now. Win? You said now.
Yeah, well, because now I definitely don't. Maybe I definitely don't want this new person to win, or maybe I do want them to win.
Okay.
You don't know. You may never know.
Hey, wait! You guys had segments you started last week.
Yes,
we did. What was it?
You started a segment. It was because you guys are supposed to be positive. I barely heard any positivity out of you guys.
What was the segment? I don't remember.
Best return of the week.
Best return. I have a best return. I had someone who started a return this morning and then they instantly closed it down. They closed it. They bought a pair of jeans from me. And then they instantly they said they didn't fit. They said they're too snug, and then they closed the return and that was it. So and I blocked them.
I had
someone's gonna start that stuff. And those Croc shoes I sent to Germany.
Yeah.
I had refunded them. Did I tell you guys that? Have I been on since?
Yeah. You said
guess who got their stupid Crocs?
Oh, they made it?
Yeah, they got there on like the 17th.
Did the guy pay again?
No. And I messaged them,
Did you
and they
reach out?
probably blocked me.
I'm sure he blocked you at that point.
So I blocked them, and I reported them.
Oh.
For filing a false claim. They said they didn't get the package, and they got it.
So
we're all good. My dog's
we're all good. Which puppy got away?
Wallen got away. He's we had to get Poncho would run through that. You know, you get that little shock collar, and they he would run through the one collar because it was so weak. He didn't care. He's like, I don't care. I'd rather be shocked and with people than not shocked and by myself. So, so we changed collars with him, and then Wallen figured out that it didn't shock that much. So he saw the golden retriever, and he went down the road.
Oh no!
So, but he's back.
Yeah, well, Wallen, don't be going across that fence, buddy. What were we talking about? I don't even remember.
How do you get him? How are you going to keep him in the yard?
Now?
Yeah,
I'm not. I locked him in the house.
Turn the collar up.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we can go. We'll have to. Well, I don't know. I don't know how to work all that stuff.
We're going into the topics that have brought up on the Trash Cash a lot.
So, is this the last we heard of the dogs? Yeah.
I actually love
turn that
dogs.
sucker up, and
I'm asking for a friend.
David Carey liked to turn things that are completely the antithesis of me and make them me. I mean, basically anything that they've said, it's the exact opposite of what is the reality. They've got a knack for that.
We don't have to worry about Wallen no more.
Oh my goodness, man! It's good times. Dave is actually in town today. I have to go eat dinner with Dave today, so I'm going to be a lot less. Somebody needs to go buy whatever lots I got left so I can afford this dinner. Because Dave is. I took Dave out to dinner one time. He ordered everything. He got an appetizer, 2 entrees, and a dessert. I'm like, dude, what in the world?
Oh no,
I'm not paying for it. That's what he said. I was like, well, I'm not. I can't. I already got to pay for Mike's 2 entrees.
How many drinks did he get?
Well, thank goodness he doesn't drink alcohol because that'd get a lot more expensive. So,
okay, because I went out to breakfast with a buddy after work before, and he would get chocolate milk and orange juice, and when I was a kid, we couldn't do that. It was like you had to get iced. Like you could, I mean, you weren't getting chocolate milk and orange
you get
juice.
Water.
It was basically my mom would be like, you can have chocolate milk, but they're bringing it with your breakfast because you're only getting 1 glass because they didn't give you free refills.
This is my experience growing up with my dad. So we'd go pull up he delivered newspapers, right? He had an LA Times agency in Southern California, and so sometimes we get up early and go, 2 a.m. and go work, and we'd go up. I just remember it didn't matter where we went. McDonald's especially. We get to McDonald's and he's like, "What do you want?" And I tell him what I wanted, and he would order something else every time. And I'm like, I don't know, why are you even asking me? Whatever. And I was like, "Well, why'd you get this?" And I didn't talk back or anything. I'm just, why did you get this? Oh, it's because they got this, 2 for 2 deal or something. Then don't ask me. So I started to get smart. I learned this from my mom. She just started, telling him something else that she didn't want. Maybe she could get what she wanted if she told him something else. So, and he did that. And I love my dad, so whatever. But I remember the last time I was it wasn't like when I was a kid. I was in my 40s, and we were in Southern California, and we were at Taco Bell, I think, or something. I don't know where we were. Oh, Pollo Loco. And he asked me, we're in the drive-thru, he asked me, and we were buying for a bunch of people. I'm like, what do you want? So I told him what I wanted. And he's like, what about the sides? I'm like, anything but coleslaw. And he ordered coleslaw.
Oh, man.
He ordered coleslaw. I'm like, what? And I was like, like, I thought this would have wore off when I was in my 40s, but no, it didn't wear off.
This is just Kevin's way of telling us that he never got a Happy Meal or a toy with it growing up.
He'd order Big Macs. When the Big Macs are on, I hate Big Macs. I hate them. I hate I like the dressing on them and all. I just hate them. And so he'd order them, and I wouldn't eat them.
But I wanted the kids.
He'd still order them. I'm like, well, whatever.
Good news is Kevin is not the one selling the Happy Meal toy lot.
I didn't get Happy Meals. My mom would get not Burger King. We get McDonald's when they were like, they used to have deals where they'd be like a quarter, and so she would buy a bunch of them, and we'd take them home, and then she would give us chips because she wouldn't buy French fries. And one time I screamed out, I'm like, I want French fries. And they gave me French fries.
So bold. Everybody, people our age have those stories. Not that you're all my age, I guess. Dan, you're the young one in here. How old are you, Dan?
I'm 43.
And he is the young one? Yeah?
I don't know how old Joe is.
I'm 44.
Okay.
40.
Jimmy?
40.
Okay. Gotcha. So people our age, you know, they got those stories. I guess everybody does with their parents, but I think it's more so for our generation than anybody else's.
McDonald's and Taco Bell night in my household means that we were tight on money and we needed to go buy the cheap tacos and burritos and the cheap hamburgers. So no, we were not ordering. Yeah, we were not
every Wednesday at Taco Bell. We'd go down there, or Sunday. I can't remember. Maybe it changed.
And now, if you go to Taco Bell or McDonald's these days, it's like that's the expensive night.
Oh,
what happened? When did that happen?
McDonald's has a $5 meal now.
Oh yeah, I've tried it. I had to
Like,
see what it was about.
I mean, it's decent, but it's like, I mean,
I could use 3 or 4 more nuggets if I'm being honest.
Well, if you have the points, you can add something to it.
Oh, that's the other thing. Speaking of my dad, they get the whole, you know, he'll pull up and it's like, do you got the app? He's like, no. And well, if you had the app, it'd be this price. And if you don't have the app, it'll be this price. That if you want to lose the customer, just tell my dad that because he's gone. Like, you're going to charge it. I'm out of here.
I don't have any of those apps.
Taco Bell is the best deal on the app. You can get the lunchbox. The lunchbox, like it says $5, but it's like $6 around me. But you could get like a Crunchwrap Supreme or Chalupa, and then you can get like some different types of burritos, and then you can get a side. You can get the twist or potatoes, and I get potatoes and cheese, and a drink. It's like $6. If you put all that in your cart, it's like $15. It's an amazing deal.
But don't you still have to go through the drive-through and tell them what you want?
No, you do it in the app. You pay and you just drive up to the.
You give them a code.
You just tell them. Well, you just tell them your name.
Because we went through McDonald's and my wife's like, "Oh wait, we're gonna do the app." I'm like, "Okay, cool." Like I'm like, "Okay," and then you get up there and we gave them the code and we still had to order the crap and we could still pay with cash. And I was like, "How are you making any money? Like, what are you doing here?" I don't.
My McDonald's, I do the park and then they bring it to you faster. They say 5 minutes and then you're leaving before.
You don't have to pay attention to the people. You could like list an item during that 5 minutes. So opportunity cost right there. You just made money on that transaction.
Oh yeah, that's it. Paid for lunch.
Kevin always.
That's when I list, y'all. It's when I list. I listed stuff at stoplights before. I probably shouldn't do that.
No, you can't. Well, in Ohio, you can't even hold your phone up at a stoplight anymore.
Yeah,
really?
You can't do it here.
0 tolerance now.
Yeah, you got to put a seatbelt on the phone, and it's awful around here. Yeah.
I'm telling, so I keep telling Sonia they're gonna get you one because she's at every stoplight. I'm like,
well,
can't do
you
that
can
anymore.
Steal $900 worth of merchandise. You're okay. You just can't hold your phone up.
Yep.
At
the
stop.
Trying to look where you're going. If you have MapQuest up.
MapQuest?
Look, yeah.
The good old days. There you go. You keep reminding me of my dad. I use. Yeah, I'm type in the thing right there, and he'll be like, "Oh, I know how to get there." And like 4 hours later, it's like, "Yeah, we should have typed that in."
I don't use the McDonald's app because that sucker, it's on. As soon as it knows you're driving by McDonald's, it starts sending you all kinds of, "Oh, you should stop by." come on, big guy, come on over. Like, I'm like, it knows I'm on the road that goes by McDonald's. I'm telling you.
That's why I don't have any of the apps. I have no self-control. I'll see an ad pop up.
It
Okay.
works. All right, it works. All right,
it's like the eBay app. When you go and you try to comp something to find it and list it, and then the next day you're getting offers from that item, right? It's like, dude, I just wanted to comp the dumb thing.
I got another story along those lines. Oh, I buy my underwear on Amazon.
Yeah, you should buy them on eBay.
And then I buy my underwear. Well, I'm a bigger guy, and it's kind of hard.
You tell me there's no big underwear.
The day I buy underwear,
it's hard. I agree with Jimmy. It's very hard,
especially when you want to get the ones that are. But the next day on my Facebook, it's nothing but men's underwear ads, and I'm like, I don't like what's happening right now.
Yeah, and they're when you're searching the bigger size, and then the ads are all for fit men too, right?
So it's extreme close-ups. Let's just say that. Like, I don't need an extreme close-up ad.
It's definitely they definitely listen to you and see what you're doing, because I was talking with my mom not too long ago about my dad always wore Red Wing boots. He worked for Amtrak, but out on the railroad. But he wore Red Wing boots. I can't tell you the last time I ever seen an ad for Red Wing boots, and for like 2 days after that, that's all that popped up on any of the social media was Red Wing boots.
Yep. Jimmy, didn't you sell some Red Wings for a good price lately?
Yeah, I found some brand.
For whatever reason, when I find Red Wings around here, I comp them out, and it's like they're never that good. I don't understand because there should be Red Wings around here, and there are, but they're never like good ones.
I just listed a pair for $200 yesterday. Also,
really?
Oh man, I spelt it wrong. Yeah,
I don't think
they're vintage. They're good. I can't find. They were brand new in the box.
Hey, look at that! I sold a Barbie and Ken lot. I sold 47 Barbie dolls for $60
on Shop Commons.
On Shop Commons, yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you, if I list stuff, I mean, I put deals out there, right? And even when I'm not selling individual Barbies, just not doing it. Hey, look at that. That's a good one. How about the Circus jacket, Jimmy? Do you sell that yet?
I haven't listed that. I'm listing all my jackets as soon as we get back from.
Did you take Carrie's advice on the podcast and just like put a shiv through that thing and sell it? Sell it as used, original.
Leave it in there. Just leave it in there. Some shiv is just part of the draw.
I like
it. I haven't looked at that yet.
Can I give a bad list? So somebody's got McDonald's Furbies and TMT, and they've got a little lot of them for $8. That's really not what we're looking for. Bigger lots that, that's right. We're not selling to people that want to buy, something anyway. I'll shut up. I'm not going to criticize.
No, I got you.
Are you Kevin? Are you the only one that's? Are you the one approving all the? Are you looking at? You said you're looking at all of them, but
I'll tell you, I don't.
What time are you having to spend there looking at everyone's listings?
Well, it's new right now, right? So it's like you're trying to control things. I've actually rejected over 300 applications already.
Oh wow.
And there's probably some early I let in because I was desperate because I wanted listings up there that I regret getting in there.
Like Jimmy.
But I'm really looking for somebody who I want to find like mom and pop thrift stores that are getting way too much merchandise in than they can actually sell. Because Goodwill's doing that, and then they're selling it on their own platforms.
Yeah.
And give them an outlet. I want to find a couple of rag houses, possibly, where they can like talk about a Levi lot, and so really provide some because it's low cost. They don't have to start their own site. They don't have to do anything. They're paying 8% and not even including the shipping. It's a viable marketplace to really provide because sourcing's changing, y'all. And I know Dan, you do Goodwill, but you have a bin store.
Yeah.
We don't have a bin store around here. I mean, we don't even have we don't have much around here.
Changed the game for me this winter with the bin store. Go ahead.
But there's a lot of folks who don't have those bin stores who are still trying to thrift for a living. And it's becoming harder in certain areas. And certainly around here it is. And so to have this other platform that opens up something, it may not be, it's not like you're making, your ROI is insane if you're buying and paying for shipping on here, but it's at least an opportunity or an option for some folks. So we will see. We'll see. Our listings we're up to 223 listings, and out of those, I'll be honest with you, half of them are there's not enough meat on the bone. So that's why I'm trying to figure out if I can look at sellers that have like 15 things listed, and they've been listed for 2 months, and they haven't sold one thing. Then it's not for them, right? They're trying to get to, this is for people who have so much quantity that they can't focus on what they want to focus on.
Right.
And they need to sell this stuff off for a little profit where there's margin in it. It's not for everybody. So eventually over time, we will remove people. That was part of the problem. I was scared. It's like, okay, if I'm the one approving people or taking people off, or I took your listing down because of this, then those people all of a sudden become your enemy. Right? They're the people on Reddit that say Commonwealth Picker's a jerk.
Oh,
So
as long as you don't know my username, we're good. We're good. We'll be on good terms. No, but it's the ultimate. Like, you win at the purchase platform. Like, it's for. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah. Well, part of
it becomes a challenge for me with the way I have mine structured too. Like you said, I have.
It may not be the model.
I don't buy in lockers that much and stuff like that. So
it's not necessarily built for your model, right?
Yeah.
It may work from time to time for your model, accumulating stuff or something, but it's not like you're going to be listing stuff on there 24/7. It works better for somebody like Chernok's model or something like that. But the other part of it I was afraid of, not just that part of it, was somebody buying something, which I was afraid Paige 1 Foot Flipper did this. I'm like, why did you just buy this? Did you just buy this to trash me on a YouTube video? which he didn't. He just sold some today, by the way. And so I was like, how can I do this to not end up being a mystery box or not? But so people can't just like slam me for stuff that's they bought from somebody I don't even know on my site. And the way I came up with it was, hey, you got to make a video. You got to put your voice on there. You got to show these items so that the buyer really has no excuse. If you went on there and bought something that has no meat on the bone, it's your fault. It's not my fault. It's all right there to be seen. That item shouldn't have sold for that price because it's got no meat on the bone. At least for an eBay reseller, it might for somebody who's, this, Jimmy. You started to do these pop-ups or whatever and sell some clothes, right? Yep. Have you gone around to other people's? Because I went to I never remember this. The vintage. What's the vintage thing? Not FlipCon or whatever. I don't know what it's called. No, I couldn't remember this on the podcast the other day and on Reseller Island. But anyway, that touring vintage clothing market that goes around the country.
Yep.
And I went around to that show and I'm like, man, I could buy this from you for $45 here at this show, or I could pay $12 on eBay. Right? Yep. They're selling it for over eBay value at some of those. Not all of them, but some people are. And the vintage clothes, I almost guarantee somebody who bought my vintage tea lot over there is somebody who sells at one of those.
Yeah, that's where I'm at, where I have to decide if I'm not going to be able to make it to those like I want to. Like right now, I'm struggling to make it to actually go to a pop-up and sell. Then maybe that's not for me. I don't know. And maybe
because there's opportunity cost in that too, right? Especially if it's a day of garage sales you're missing.
Yeah, most of them are on weekends. So it takes a day to source them.
You don't have to worry about that, Kevin, because you don't have any yard sale days in your.
So Jimmy, somebody sent me a message the other day on Instagram, and I basically don't answer Instagram messages unless you're in my primary feed at this point, because it's just I can't. There's no way. I will answer your questions over on Commons or Dibbed It though. That's the only place that I can like feasibly manage at this point. So somebody sent me a message. They're like, hey, we're coming down to the Lynchburg area, and we just want to know where you find information for yard sales because we're trying to plan it out, and we're not finding anything. It's like, well, look at Saturday, and you'll probably find 10 or 12 on Saturday. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah. Like, oh, but your videos look so... I was like, yeah, I don't think you understand. I work my butt off to find stuff for those videos around here. I was like, it is not easy. And they're like, we're not trying to get in on your stuff or whatever. I'm like, listen, if you're coming down here, you'll see me because there's only I mean, look at my videos, man. Those people are in the. I made them characters in my videos because they're in all my videos. That ought to tell you something. Jimmy, you were here. We ran into the same people 3 times.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I tell a lot of people that story. Like Kevin is literally like people are like everybody at the sale knows him. And he's having everybody. And it was like Kevin's like very very courteous and talking, but he's like I'm trying to pick. And so there was a couple times where Kevin's like in the truck and gone because he's like I got to get to the next sale or I'll be standing here talking while I need to be picking. And he's trying to be nice, but like I understood it. I was like I get it, Kevin. Like you got to get to that next sale. I get it.
Because those 6 people who are going to go to every sale are going to that next sale.
Yep.
And if you remember, Jimmy, I said, listen, I do the opposite. I of what people would typically do. If you look at all these sales, it's like, these are the good ones, these are whatever. And I literally go somewhere else. I don't, and I'll even track it. Like, okay, if they're at this sale, I'll be nice. I'm like, hey, where you already been? And they'll tell me. And when they tell me, I know which one they're going to next. And so I'll skip ahead and go to the next one if they leave that sale before me. It's an interesting and sometimes I'll just be out in the boonies. I'll just like if I see one out in the boonies, I'm going to that one. That's where I'm going.
And the top, it's like Dukes of Hazzard driving that Kevin's doing too. Like he's like hitting ramps and stuff to get to that next sale. He ain't playing around.
My wife complains I drive too slow, which I do in normal life, but she doesn't go with me on Saturday mornings very often. So.
It's pretty wild. It was interesting, and I was like, that's why I've jokingly said multiple times now, no, Ohio is for pickers. Take that out of your video. That Virginia's for pickers. Nope.
But it is an interesting place, though. It's like because there's not that many, but it's such a rural area because there's a city 40 minutes that way and a city 35 minutes this way. Is like I went to. I'm not kidding. I went to one sale Saturday. And there was a few in Lynchburg, but this one was on the outskirts. And I'm like, it's raining. I'm like, I'm not going to go in there for a couple sales. Went to one sale and I pull up, Tucker, the little guy. Yeah. I pull up and Tucker's at this sale waiting to get in. I'm like, what the crap? I mean, he doesn't even live. I mean, he lives hours away from here. I'm like, what is this? And I'm thinking to myself, I picked this sale because it's out in the middle of nowhere and I'm going to do okay. Well, every picker and their brother was there. Oh, and like he knew exactly where to go. He was in front of me at the sale. I don't really rush sales. It's not worth it. But he was in front of me and I saw him walk in the door and he went down. He knew where he went down the basement. He went to the back of the basement. I'm following him for the video. And he went directly to where all the trains were, Jimmy. All of them. So he knew exactly where they were going to be.
Scoped it out.
Yeah, he ended up not buying them because they were way too much money. There's 2 people competing over it, and I was videoing, and I'm like, these people he might hit Tucker. This would be a great video. This would be awesome. I'm kidding, but and I'm looking around, and that was too much, and I'm looking around at everything else, and everything was too much. But I did find, I don't know if you can see it or not, but that was a set of silverware. It was so dark in the basement, and I looked at it, and do you guys do any silverware, flatware, or anything like that?
No.
So you should. I'll put a link to my jewelry scale and the silver stuff. Anyway. So I looked at it. It was so dark. And normally on silverware, the name brand of the silverware is usually in the middle of the stem of the back. And I saw nothing there. And if it's sterling, it's usually towards the top of the spoon or something. I saw something up there, but there's no brand. I'm like, that must be the brand. And I walked around a little bit more. I'm like, there's nothing here. I was like, I'm going to go back. And I pulled out my little loop and did all whatever. And it was sterling. I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me. I almost set this down. And I paid $95 for it. But it's probably worth $1,200. And people are walking out of there. It's just way overpriced. And I managed to get that. And I managed to get a ton of books. So not really in my picking categories. But that was the only sale. That was it. So you can pick a different style. Like Jimmy, I imagine, and you're an everything seller, and I've seen Joe pick, and he's very particular, which you should be with the way that you're doing your show or doing your selling. But, when you're at these highway sales, sometimes it's like you don't know what to do. Do I just hit it and go, or do you sit around and dig? And I'm a digger.
I've definitely noticed you spend a lot of time on a sale.
I definitely do. There's no doubt, and it's not necessarily the best way to do it if you're in an area like yours, Jimmy. But in an area like mine, I ain't got nowhere else to go, so I better dig.
No, I can say for like Sonia likes to spend more time digging, and there were times where like I was ready to go from that sale, and she was still like, just give me a couple more minutes, and then she ends up finding something amazing at the bottom, and like, well, I'm glad we didn't listen to me, because I'm more of I do more scan, and if I don't see something that catch my eye, I'm out of there.
Yeah. Or do you ever go back and keep looking because she's there? It's like, well, I might as well keep looking.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you find something.
Yeah, I'm bad about it. I miss stuff for sure. But like that's why it was. It's nice to have Sonya there because she's she's a really good picker, and she likes to get down and dig into the boxes and stuff. Where I'm like, I don't enjoy that as much. Like,
yeah, I could sense that just going picking with you around here. You could see that she was, and she just kept finding little things here and there, and I did good that day too. But it wasn't a traditional. That's part of it too for me. And my videos are kind of more eclectic and whatever. It's not like every single time you're gonna find video games or whatever.
Yeah,
I might find this on one video, and it's just I'm picking everything, and that's why I'm an everything seller, because you can't not be around here. It'd be very hard.
I don't necessarily like to dig either, but I try to find things that are just not. There's no project to it. You know what I mean? They're ready to list type thing, smaller items just because of the amount of time that it takes sometimes I bought enough projects that I never even completed. You know what I mean? Like they're sitting in the garage and I'll probably never get to them.
Shopcommons.net. Yeah. Shopcommons.net. But Joe, you did good down here, man. The 100-mile yard sale every time. I didn't want to break anybody's spirit around here, but Jimmy bring back this hat and all these vintage toys. Everybody's bragging like us resellers do, and I really killed it, man. And I just didn't say much to anybody. And it was weird stuff. Like I would go off on a trail or go this way or that way, and it's always those weird sales that are just off the beaten track that, like I went to Rustburg. I don't know if you remember that, but that was 20-minute drive off of the 100-mile yard sale, and I ended up getting that John Deere Louisville one and some other stuff and some apothecary stuff.
Wasn't that like on the last day too? Wasn't that sitting around all that?
I remember you sent that picture of that hat.
Yeah, and there was just some weird sales where, like, end of the day, there was a church sale in Bedford that none of us knew about, and it was a massive church sale. They didn't advertise it anywhere. Their advertisement was a sign in front of the church the day of the sale, right? Wow. And I just happened to go past that dumb thing, and I just killed it at that sale. And it was literally as they were closing. Everything, they're like, half off of everything. We're closing. They were putting stuff away. And I'm like, you just had the 100-mile yard sale and you failed to sell all this stuff. I'm like, this is insane.
So that's a top secret sale now. Can't tell anybody about that one.
Yeah, well, I probably won't know about it or remember it next year when we do it.
You'll try by it. Oh yeah, I remember this place. No, I mean, I thought the 100-mile was really good though. I thought I was surprised.
You had a couple of really good loads. That one guy that was overpriced, but you managed to get all them toys off of that you killed it on.
I just sold 2 of those dolls yesterday. I found a stomper.
Yeah, I bought one from Tim the Toy Man, but it was an expensive one.
Yeah. I was going through the Ziploc bags and I saw one in there and I saw it was battery powered. And so I was like, can I buy just this one? I think I paid $2 for the one car.
What did you think about picking with Tim? Is Tim not the cheapest person ever picking you've ever seen?
Tim, don't hate me, but I'm going to tell a story. Tim doesn't stop at every sale. Tim's looking for very specific items. And couple sales we just drove by. And I was just looking out the window like, and then of course Joey Pinjo, he's that sale you guys just drove by, and I was like, I found Zelda game, and I was like, it was a little bit painful, but no, that was hanging out with Tim was worth it. Like Tim is awesome. I learned watching him. I learned about the glass I've been buying. So big picture was definitely worth it. And it was a great time. Tim was.
I can see Dan in there negotiating because you don't have much negotiating experience, right, Dan?
None. I don't. No, I can't. I don't ever negotiate.
We gotta get him out. Someone's got to take. Like he's got to go to yard sales. We got
The first year I started.
The
first year I started going to garage sales, my mom came with me a few times, and she'd be like, "You didn't even try," and I'm like,
"Son, you're a failure."
I was watching your videos, Kevin, and you were saying you're talking about vacuum cleaners and stuff, and you're like, "Don't buy them unless you're gonna put the work in and do it." So I was destined to find a vacuum cleaner, so I found it, and they're asking $20 for it. I bought it. My mom's like, "You should have offered 10. They probably would have taken it." 5 years later, 4 years, I still have the vacuum cleaner. I haven't touched it. It's probably I need it. It's like buried. I need to dig it out.
Is it like a Electrolux or a Rainbow or something?
I have no idea what it is now. It's probably, I guarantee it's probably nothing good.
If it's got a hose on it, just take the hose off it, throw everything else away, sell the hose, and you'll feel good about yourself.
Okay.
I mean, the story would be even a little bit better if you said, "Hey, I used it around the house or something."
No, I came home and I put it. I backed my car up. I took everything out. I used to take everything in my garage. So my garage is shared. Like I rent this house for my mother, and my brother and I. The garage is in there, but it's our stuff from forever. Like when we moved, and my other brother he's lived here, and he has boxes and storage in there too. And then when I first started reselling, I have a pallet, and I had like 5 totes. I'm like, this is all I'm gonna have to sell. I'm just gonna sell a few things, and it turned into like this monster of stuff. And then I had a flood in there, so then I had to move everything around, and it's just sitting in the middle, and I never take any time to set anything up. So like it's a big blob of stuff in the middle of my garage, and the vacuum cleaner is buried behind my folding tables and my shelving.
So Jimmy wouldn't do that. Jimmy don't have giant death piles and all that. I can tell just by the way rooms are set up. And Joe, I bet Joe doesn't have a big death pile.
No, Joe's got a death pile.
Project pile.
Project pile.
Or money pile. No, I have a decent one right now, but that's because I told you
I've changed my ways though over the years now. Now, like I have, that's just bad. I need to dig. I really do need to dig out. But I've on this thing now. If I'm not messing with it, and I haven't messed with it, I get rid of it. I just go redonate it or throw it away.
Well, no.
I feel so good after I get rid of things. Feels, it's tough to do it sometimes, but once I get rid of it.
I think that's the people who have sold multiple. Once they got a sale over on Commons, they had a couple listings and they got a sale. And then all of a sudden they got 15 listings up because they just sold a big giant box of something that they didn't want to deal with to somebody else. And I'm like, oh, okay, they're hooked. They got it. And they're like, it's just cheap. Like sell it. Because you need to be able to maneuver and figure out what you're doing. I used to do incoming and outgoing in this shed. And before that, I did incoming and outgoing in that eBay cave. It was hard. Separating the incoming from the outgoing totally changed my business. Totally changed my mindset. I was encouraged to do both sides of the business. But when you got it all coming and going in the same direction, this sounds like a Trash to Cash podcast. It's
that's what I do in here. And it comes in here. I send it out in here. I do my whatnot shows in here. I'm looking at all my stuff right now. I just finished.
Yeah.
And if I put it out there, if I put it out in the garage, it could get lost. So then I keep it. I don't know what's there.
That's what I ended up used to do when I did that all in the eBay cave when I first started the YouTube channel. It was overwhelming. You just couldn't. And so I'd put it in that shed. If I bought too much and I'd bring some stuff in and then the shed just got full. Right. I mean, that's just what happens. So
out of mind, out of sight, or out of sight, out of mind, whatever that is.
Yeah. And then when I got it all straight, I'm pulling stuff out 2 years later. I'm like, daggone, man. I got like 5 vacuum cleaners in there.
It wasn't vintage when I bought it, but it's vintage now.
Very, very true. No doubt about it, man.
All right, guys. Well, it's about that time where we've been going on this podcast for a little bit. Kevin, thanks for hanging out. Tell us a little bit more about some of the stuff you got going on, all the stuff you got going on.
Yeah, we got a lot. I don't know. It's turned into an infomercial. We do a lot. It's, Trash to Cash podcast, of course. And, we're doing Garage Sale Nation. That's actually growing a lot lately on YouTube, which is cool because that's not necessary because I'm doing shorts. That's my shorts channel. Okay. And it reaches another audience that aren't necessarily resellers. And so I get a lot of hate over there. I just can't imagine. Could you imagine if Tim was doing, putting all that stuff? I mean, you think about the hate I get. I negotiate, but I don't put the screws to you. They would hate him, man. And Eric, I've seen some lowball offers.
Oh man, Eric will have them thanking him for lowballing. In the end, they'll be like, "Thanks for lowballing us."
Well, that's what I do. That's kind of the strategy. Is you talk to people and develop a tiny relationship with them before you ever ask what a price is. Yep. And sometimes you don't have to negotiate, and that's you pet their dog and stuff. It's helpful. Yep. You got to be nice. People trust you a little bit more.
Not easy for me.
But yeah, obviously Commons, I think Dibdit has turned the corner for us, for me anyways, not for Dave, because Dave didn't know what he's doing over there. But, it's, I've been getting, because of the fact that I'm paying lower fees over there, because of the fact that I can ship in much bigger packages and I can charge progressive shipping without getting that whatnot just crippling. Because, if you sell a giant box to me, you're getting upcharged. Because of that, and because of the lower fee structure, because of the non-constant giveaways every 5 seconds over and whatnot that people do, or the games they play and all that, because of that, the overall money coming in from Dibdit on a particular sale for me has matched what I was doing on whatnot. And it's my own site, and I get to do what I want. So that's kind of turned the corner. We're over 4,000 folks over there now. I'd like to get 10,000. That was my goal by the end of the year. I don't think we're going to get there, but it's growing. That marketplace is growing for us, and it's been nice to help some other folks over there as well get some audiences. This is the first time that the other folks that weren't me or Dave or whatever were carrying good audiences. The last time we did a live over there, I hope that continues. Like Dan, what are you getting over there in your audience for whatnot these days? And you're doing raid trains a lot.
I had a spurt where I was doing decent. I did a clothing show and it didn't do very well, but I was having a spurt there where I was getting 20, around 20 in my show. Yeah, maybe a little more than some. I mean, some less depending on the show.
We were, and that's what I look at more than anything is can we provide an audience for the other folks who are following and doing whatever. And the last one, they were carrying anywhere between 28 and 40 for the shows that followed me. And then as the day went on, it would go down a little bit because I wasn't going back. I went on 3 times the other day. And that's the beauty. That's another. I'm selling all my stuff today. Sorry, I know you probably want to go. I got to ship. I got to do an eBay. I got 18 things I got to ship out before I got to go pay for Dave's dinner. So,
where are you taking Dave?
Skyline Restaurant. No. Dave doesn't eat that. He'll eat that, but when somebody else is paying, he wants to eat the good stuff. So I'm sticking with the bill. Matter of fact, we're gonna stick Carrie with the bill. This one's going on Trash to Cash podcast card, Carrie. You heard it here first.
Carrie's not listening. He's not listening this late in this podcast. I don't know if he's ever listened to a podcast.
He might. But I was going to say something about Dibdit, and I can't remember. It's because I get sidetracked. I got Dave's problem, I guess. Any rate, we'll leave it at that. Thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate you. I never do these tours, and I've been on. I filled in for Mike over on Buck Mountain Show one night because Mike never asked me to do anything, and I did that. And then I did Reseller Island, and then I'm over here. And
Network.
Yeah. Oh, I started with RAN, and I'm gonna actually be on Cat Show, which I've never done.
Oh wow!
Which I've never done that. I'm gonna do that show. And
when's that?
I offered
today
to Jimmy's former show over there, and I can't. What is it? Clickbait. But see, I don't have to now because Grant or Pops already did a infomercial for shopcommons.net. I'm like, man, you just messed up. I was coming on there, Pops.
You can go tell him about how good it's going.
Well, he's selling stuff, so hey, he's good. But hey, I can't wait to see you guys.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. Again, thanks for hanging out with us today, Kevin. It was a blast. And Joe, Dan, you guys got anything else you want to say before we take off?
Nope. Thanks for listening. If you made it this far.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you next time on the Reseller Leftovers podcast.